Hey you, watch this. And this could be you too. Now I do want to preface this by saying that for probably 95% of the game this is completely overkill. This, I've done 0 damage. Oh hold on, there's one guy. Alright, okay, I've done 40% of the damage. Does not mean I'm being useful, but it's so much fun. So your first question may be, hey Moose, what's a Kullervo? It's this guy. After that you may be like, well, what does he have that makes him so strong? And that, dear viewer, is really simple. It's his number 1 ability, Wrathful Advance. Wrathful Advance teleports you in the direction that you're looking, and then gives you a nice little buff to your melee weapons. Now that buff happens to not just be critical chance, but final critical chance. How much, you ask? Well, on a rank 30 unmodded Kullervo, you get 200% final crit chance, meaning any melee weapon you use is guaranteed to at least orange crit, which is cool, but then you put some ability strength on it and boom, suddenly you pass 600% crit chance on any melee weapon you want. Let's start with the self-explanatory mods. Steel Charge as your aura mod, as it gives your teammates, and more importantly you, plus 60% to your melee damage, as well as giving you the max amount of capacity an aura mod can give you, that being 18. Next we have Prime Continuity, just to make our lives a little easier, and to balance out the ability efficiency we lose from Blind Rage, which also happens to give us 99% ability strength. Next I've opted to go for the Umbral set, so Umbral Intensify, Vitality, and Fiber. My reasoning here is quite simple. Umbral Intensify has the potential to be the highest value Intensify mod, given that you have the other 2 Umbral mods. We need a large amount of health, more specifically 3000 health, because we'll also be running Arcane Bellicose, which caps out at 3000 health, so we need a mod to get us there, and what better mod than Umbral Vitality, since it not only gets us up above 3000 health, but also buffs our Intensify. And finally, Umbral Fiber buffs both of those, and gives us a nice little bit of survivability, so why not? Next, and also maybe requiring a little bit of explaining, is Prime Flow, which I don't have, so I'm using Archon Flow instead. All that really matters here is that it's able to get your max energy above 500. We'll come back to that soon enough. Next we've got Nir's Hatred and Nir's Anguish. Nir's Hatred gives us a little bit of ability duration, sure, but that's not why we care about them. No, we care about them because of the set bonus, which increases damage from slam attacks by 150% per mod in the set. Unfortunately for us, the final mod in the set is for whips, and we're not going to be using some lame old whip for this. We still get plus 300% to our slam damage just from those 2 though. For arcanes we have Arcane Bellicose, because Kullervo has very high base health, as well as Arcane Concentration, because his Wrathful Advance has a really low duration, and it helps you hold on to your energy a little bit longer. Finally, and this is why we needed to make sure our energy was above 500, we've got these 5 beautiful Tau-forged Violet Archon shards, each one set to give us 37% additional melee critical damage, doubled if our max energy is above 500, for a grand total of 370% additional melee critical damage. Now all we need is a weapon with, say, the highest base crit damage multiplier and a unique slam attack that blasts everyone and everything within 40 meters. And no, it's not the Magistar, it's Sampotus is the Deviri hammer. You can get it from the armory in Teshin's Cave in Deviri, and it requires some Deviri materials to build. Now, why this hammer, you may be asking? Why not the tried and true Magistar Incarnate? Well, there are a couple reasons for that. Number one, the nerf to slams about a year ago. You now have to launch yourself pretty high up to get any proper value out of pretty much all slam weapons. And while the Magistar does have the largest slam radius with its Incarnate upgrades, you still need height to get proper value. And with some of the tiles having really low ceilings, it's going to be difficult to really get that bang for your buck. Sampotus Slam is different though. Sure, the initial slam still suffers from the same problem, but the passive on it is what we're after. On a normal slam attack, it sends out 8 explosions in front of it, one for every 5 meters, for a total of 40 meters of death and destruction sent out in front of you. On a heavy slam, it sends out 4 waves of 3 explosions in a cone ahead of you, every 7 meters for a significantly wider, but slightly shorter, 28 meters of complete and utter annihilation. And these explosions happen regardless of how high up you attack from. Second, it doesn't require that you get any Incarnate, meaning you don't have to wait up to 8 weeks to get the build ready if you just happen to learn about this on a bad day, i.e. right after it left the circuit rotation. Third, it doesn't require line of sight to kill. The explosions keep going as long as there's a floor that exists to carry them onwards, meaning that you can hit enemies through walls or potentially even through entire rooms. And finally, it just matches, you know? Like, it's the Duviri hammer with the Duviri Warframe. How can you possibly use anything else? So with that out of the way, what do we need on this beautiful hammer? Damage, and as many different types as possible. You can kind of put whatever you want in here. What I've got is Prime Pressure Point for base damage, North Wind and Prime Fever Strike for elemental damages, but you can kind of put whatever you want in here. Seismic Wave for extra slam damage, Killing Blow for extra heavy damage, Galvanized Reflex for initial combo and therefore combo multiplier damage, and Organ Shatter for critical damage. The only things to remember are that 1, you don't care about statuses, so if you decide you want heat damage, go Molten Impact, not Volcanic Edge. The enemies do not live long enough to be affected by statuses, so don't go sacrificing the big funny number for smaller numbers and an effect that doesn't add anything. And 2, you do not want to build any crit chance. Wrathful Advance takes care of all your critical chance needs, so you don't want any crit chance on your Sempotus. It's a complete waste. If you happen to have a ribbon mod for the Sempotus, or get inspired to buy one, you are looking for base damage, crit damage, and potentially some initial combo or elemental damage. Range does not increase the slam explosions. It's a bait. And if you don't have or want the ribbon, you can just fill in the last slot with something like Gladiator Might for a little more critical damage, or another elemental mod. And finally, put melee exposure on that bad boy and you've got a lean, mean killing machine. Let's take it for a spin. Now I will say it's not all sunshines and rainbows with this build. It does have a few limitations. Firstly, the easiest to solve issue, Corpus. There are 2 issues with these guys. Number 1 is that they have shields. So regardless of how much damage you can pump out in a single hit, if they don't get blasted by 2 separate instances of damage, they'll just float around in the air and live. They don't survive very often, but it does get annoying. The solution to this is really simple though. If you are fighting Corpus, you just need to make sure that you have Zada's Whisper subsumed, preferably instead of Storm of Ukko, because that ability with this build is borderline useless. Zada's Whisper will add another instance of damage to each hit, so even with a shield and only 1 explosion hitting, Corpus enemies will suffer the exact same fate as everyone else. Second are the Nullifier enemies. Just avoid them. You have more range with your slam attack, use it and you'll be fine. Next are some of the enemies you can't hit with a slam attack. Surprisingly enough, it's not the flying enemies that are a problem, but rather bosses with weak points that are off the ground. Ospreys, jetpack, Corpus units, and even those Skuldra balloon snipers all get blasted by the explosions. But someone like Sargus Ruck with his weak points on his back and shoulder, or the Efervon tank with his shields up, is completely immune to all damage coming from the slam attack. Sometimes. Which is weird, but given how rare it is to run into an enemy where this is a genuine problem, you'll probably be fine. Regardless, have a decent gun ready just in case. And finally, there's stairs. There is not all that much you can do here. If there is any verticality, the explosions just kinda give up. Usually you can work around this, but if you're doing, say, a defense mission and there's a lot of stairs, well, unfortunately you're not going to be having a lot of fun. Then again, it's a defense mission, so you probably weren't going to have all that much fun in the first place. And those are really his main weaknesses. On the strength side, well, let's see. You've got insane damage requiring almost 0 setup. You click 1 and then your melee damage spikes up to the millions for about 20 seconds. You've got some nice mobility, given that Wrathful Advance is also a teleport. You have a moderate amount of overguard, thanks to your second ability, Recompense. And if you have some friends you can get in a call with and stream to, you can get some phenomenal compliments such as, what is that build? Is that a bug? Or how is that even fair? Comments may vary from person to person, but that's about it. So go forth with your newfound wisdom. Spread the word of the great Sempotus. Slam your way through Steel Path. through Netracells and Archimedia. Slam your way through ads and bosses alike. Slam your way through them all, until nothing remains but the corpses of the fools who thought they could go toe-to-toe with Kullervo. I hope you enjoyed this guide. See you again soon.